Come onto your backs. We're going to start on our backs today. And just hug your knees into your chest and start to roll your knees around. Stir around so you get a nice massage in your low back. Hi, Robin. Robin's arrived. And then suddenly I can't see. And then roll the other way. Make sure you get all the nooks and crannies in your spine. Notice how your back feels today. And start to take some nice deep breaths. So whatever you've been doing today, just let the day go. And then just extend your legs up to the ceiling and start to flex your feet and point your toes. And flex and point and flex, getting into your calves, point, getting into your shins, and then circle the ankles and wiggle the toes. So a good way to check to see if you're dehydrated is if you squeeze your toes together like you're a bird on a wire, and then splay your toes out wide. And if you find that your feet are cramping up when you do that, it usually means that you probably could use a little bit more water. Cramping in the feet is a really reliable sign of dehydration. Good. Now bend your right knee into your chest and extend your left leg long on the ground. Point your left toes straight up to the ceiling, and then hover that left leg up just a little bit up off the ground. And then slowly draw your nose toward your knee. Yeah. And just take inventory of your abdominal wall. You want to put your abdominal wall on line today, squeeze, and see if you can do this without holding your breath. That's the trick. Don't hold your breath. Take a nice breath and then exhale and drop down, drop your shoulders, your head, your leg, and then let's switch sides. Bend the left knee into the chest, hover the right leg up, and then draw your head toward your knee, squeeze in, and activate your core. That's it. Beautiful. Flex both feet. Great. And then slowly lower your leg and your shoulders and your head to the floor. And once again, hug both knees back into the chest and rock around. And now grab hold of your strap and strap up your right foot. And we're going to activate through the back of the leg. So you can have your leg long on the ground like Kathryn is, or you can bend that left knee and plant your foot. Either way, close your eyes here. Have the strap around the arch of the foot to begin. Soften your face, relax your jaw, and long, slow, deep breaths. So now we're going to take that strap and move it up your foot so that your strap is at the base of your toes. A little bit higher, that's it. Reach up through your heel and pull your toes down toward your shin bones. Now we're getting out of the hamstring and we're going into the back of the ankle. Stretching out that part. You can play around here too with your knee joint. If you can bend your knee a little bit and then straighten it and bend it. And then return your strap to your arch again. Get back into the hamstring. Make sure your leg isn't shivering or quivering. And you're just getting a nice stretch in the back. One more breath here. And then bend the knee, remove the strap, and slide the leg down and just relax for a moment. Take a deep breath in. Maybe exhale through your mouth. Good. Let's do that on the other side now. Left foot gets roped up. And then, Kathryn, just for a moment, just bend your opposite knee and plant that foot on the floor. Just as there's an option. So with this option, you're going to be able to pull your foot over your head just a lot more deeply. Sometimes that can feel better. And once again, close your eyes. And give your leg a chance to understand what you're asking it to do. And then move the strap to the base of the toes and stretch that muscle in the back of your ankle. If you're a cyclist, you need to stretch that one out. It's even good when if you're hiking. I know Kathryn's a hiker. And if you have hiking boots that have a high top for ankle support, that's really good when you're hiking, but it immobilizes your ankle a little bit. And so stretching out that tendon in the back of the ankle can be really helpful if you're a hiker. And Kathryn's playing around with and bending the knee and straightening it. And you can play in this stretch as well. And now return the strap to the arch, revisit the hamstring again. Notice how it changes the stretch entirely depending on where the strap is on your foot. Deep into the arch of the foot, you get into your hamstring. And then at the ball of the foot, you get into the back of the ankle. So one more breath here. So we're just warming up, just trying to bring the legs online. Waking up. This was designed for a morning practice, so the body's stiff from sleep. All right, so bend the knee and remove the strap. Slide both legs down and let the feet flop out to the side for a moment and just relax. A kind of a mini Shavasana at the beginning of your practice. Feeling the enlivened legs. Now bend both knees into the chest, and we're going to rock up and back a little bit until you come to seated. And we're going to prepare for Baddha Konasana. So bringing the soles of the feet together and pulling them in nice and tight, taking your hands behind you and pulling your hips toward your heels a little bit so you get nice and tight. With the hands behind you, open your chest up a little wider. Yeah. Open, then re-grab your feet and sit up nice and tall. Pull the sternum forward, that's it. See if you can articulate your low back. And you never worry about where your knees are in this pose. So they can be way up or way down, depending on the flexibility of your inner thighs. Think about the inner thighs and stretching the inner thighs out towards the side walls. So it's more of a pulling out, a lifting up of the perineum of the pelvic floor, feeling the deep core line through the spine, feeling that energy going right up. And then if you want a little bit more stretch out of this, you can hinge forward a little bit if you like, and that'll give you a deeper stretch in the inner thighs. If this is really hard for you, you can put blocks under your knees. Any number of things that you can do here to make this more effective stretch for the inner leg. A few more deep breaths here. Stretching out towards the side walls rather than pressing knees down toward the floor. Lifting up the core. And then releasing your feet, taking your hands to the outsides of your knees or your thighs. Close your knees like a book. And then grab hold of the backs of the knees and come up onto the tippy toes. Pull your chest in toward your thighs a little bit. And then one by one, see if you can wean your feet up off the floor. Balancing on your sit bones. Good. And then lift your shins up so that they're parallel to the floor, and flex your feet so you're in a boat pose, but you still have the grab behind in the knees. Pull your chest into your thighs, and then if you dare, release your arms out so that they're parallel to your shin bones, and find yourself in boat pose. If you want to straighten your legs a little bit more and get more deeply into your boat, you can do that. We're only going to be here for 2 more breaths. Doing great. And one more breath. Inhale. And exhale. And then feet to the floor. And then we're going to come to all fours from here. So come on to hands and knees. Now, if your mat is thin and your knees are knobby, you can always pad your knees when you come into table pose. So hands underneath your shoulders, your knees are underneath your hips. And we're going to start with some cat-cows here. So drop your belly down, lift your head and tailbone up, create a deep sway in your low back. And then arch your back like a cat, round your back, drawing your pubic bone to your sternum. And then lift head and tailbone up. Deep sway in the low back. And then round the back into cat. And keep going. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the head. See if you can keep your elbows straight, even through your cow. Drop the belly. Yeah. And round into cat. Good. And the next time you come through neutral spine, stay there. And we're going to set up for a downward facing dog. So curl your toes under, lift your knees up off the floor, and a nice easy downward dog for you. So pedal in. It's just like, first downward facing dog of the day, first downward facing dog of this class. So you can mess around in it. You can sway your hips or do what Kathryn's doing and pedal your feet. There you go. Shake your head. Make sure there's no tension in your neck. Good. And now we're going to walk forward nice and slow, in keeping your head down low and coming into a kind of ragdoll or just a dangle. Good. Keeping your knees nice and soft. You can grab your elbows if you like. So see what the backs of the legs feel like now after those strap stretches. There should be a little bit more elasticity in the backs of the legs. You should feel okay, but you can keep your legs nice and soft. Let's play around with this forward fold before we come up. Let's grab the big toes with your first two fingers. And then angle your elbows out to the side and leveraging through the arms. See if you can pull into your back a little bit. So pulling the head down, keeping the knees nice and soft. And then starting to straighten your knees a little bit. Still pulling into your arms, angling your elbows out. That's it. And now release the toes and step on your hands. You're going to lift your feet up and walk your hands underneath and see if you can aim to get your toes up to the level of your wrists. So your whole hand is underneath your feet. And then you're going to pull your chest out a little bit like you're doing a halfway lift. And this is going to pull length into your arms. And then soften back in. And do that a few more times, just pulling length into your arms here because your arms are trapped, your hands are trapped. Good. And then release the hands out from underneath the feet and take your hands to your waist, to your hip bones. Keep a soft bend in your knee. And then we're going to hinge up to standing. So slowly coming all the way up. So look down at your feet, make sure they're hip width distance apart. The inside edges of your feet are parallel, like you're standing in skis. Kathryn knows about that. Squeeze your thighs, drop your tailbone, beautiful. Zip your belly, engage your abdominal wall. Roll the shoulders forward and up, back and down. Crown of the head reaches up, chin parallel to the floor. Beautiful. Now inhale, we're going to do some half suns. So inhale your arms out to the side, up overhead. You can lean back if you like. And then exhale, hinge at the hips, fold forward, touch the ground. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold back in. You're going to move with your breath. Inhale all the way up. Palms touch at the top, lean back. We're going to keep going. Exhale, fold forward, touch the ground. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, dip back in. Inhale takes you all the way back up. Palms together, lean back. One more time. Exhale, fold forward, touch the ground. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, root to rise all the way up. This time, palms together. Exhale, hands to your heart. Gather it in. Just take a moment. Okay, let's do that again, but we're going to keep going this time. Inhale your arms out to the side, up overhead, big breath. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands and step back to plank. And just hold it there. Just hold your plank. Press back through your heels. Lift your belly. Pull the crown of your head forward. Find your strength. Unlock your elbows. If you dare, engage your shoulders. And breathe. And now, slow as you can be, slow as you can go, melt all the way down to your mat. Release the tops of the feet, pillow the arms, and rest. Feel your heartbeat. Good. All right, we're going to come into a half bow. So bend your right knee, reach back with your right hand and grab your right foot or your ankle. Sometimes if you widen your knees, it makes it easier to grab. You can also put a strap around your foot if it's hard to grab. With your chin cradled in your fist, begin to pull your leg closer in, your heel closer into your glute until you find an effective and wonderful stretch in your quad from the knee to the hip flexor. So if you sit a lot, this is an essential muscle to stretch out. Find your breath. The next time you exhale, slightly, subtly press your pubic bone down. When you inhale, let it rise, getting into the hip flexor. Okay, release that foot and let's grab the other one. Change your chin wrap to your right hand, reach back with your left, grab your ankle or your foot. So the closer your knees can come in this, the more effective it will be. The wider the knees, you won't really get your quad very much. And you can do an experiment and see if that's the case. You can bring your knees wide to your mat if you like, and then gradually bring your knees closer and closer, and you'll feel your quadriceps engaging when your knees are closer in. There you go. I think this is one of my least favorite stretches because my quads are really, really tight. So if you ever get into a yoga pose where you know that you've just uncovered something really tight in your body, treat yourself with tenderness, treat yourself gently. There's no striving in yoga, there's just curiosity. Like, what is this about? Press your pubic bone down as you exhale. It's a very subtle movement. And as you inhale, let it rise. Play into that hip crease, the place where your femur meets your torso. And get in there and find something. Smooth out your breath. And now let's see if we can get both feet. Hang on to that one, reach back and grab your other one. There it is. Bring your knees as close in as possible. Chin on the floor or forehead, it doesn't matter. And once again, pressing the pubic bone down, pulling your feet back toward the wall behind you so you get all the length in your arms and your shoulder and your collarbones spread wide. If you want to come up into a fuller bow, you can lift your thighs up off the floor or just stay right where you are. It doesn't really matter. It's just whatever your body is calling for. Let your body drive. So you don't want to press it. You want to be gentle and let your body open in its own time. Practice and all is coming. Good. Now wherever you are in the pose, come down, release your feet, pillow your arms, and feel the heartbeat as it pumps against your yoga mat. Those kind of back bends are really stimulating to the nervous system. So there's a big echo after bow pose. So we want to feel the echo and watch it as it subsides. Like throwing a stone or a rock into a pond and watching the ripples go out to the edges, gradually getting more far apart, more subtle. Good. Now slowly, carefully, gingerly make your way to all fours. Take your time. Move with care. Once you get to all fours, take your knees wide to the edges of your mat, your big toes to touch, and hips to heels, child's pose. And the only reason we're doing child's pose now is to stretch out that back. It's a counter pose to the back bend. So if you are accustomed to using, practicing to over easy, you will recognize that this is the end of over easy. That's a 20-minute practice. So we're going to add some sides to the over easy practice tonight and make it a little bit of a longer practice. So from here, we're going to come back to all fours and take table pose again. So the hands underneath the shoulders, the knees underneath the hips, and find your right leg and extend it back behind you. Point your toe down, lift up through your back thigh, and when you feel ready, reach your left arm out in front of you so you're in sunbird pose. And this is a balance. And so if you feel a little wobbly in it, you're supposed to feel a little wobbly. Point your front thumb straight up to the ceiling. Spread your fingers really wide. Reach out through that arm strongly from your shoulder, your elbow, your wrist, through all your fingers. And then the back leg, reach through your hip and your knee and your foot. Stamp your foot on the wall behind you. Lift your belly. For seemingly not doing anything, there's a lot going on in this. One more big stretch. Stretch it back. And then hand, knee, foot to the floor. Come back to child's pose, hips to heels. Just briefly. And we'll set sunbird up for the other side. When you're ready, come back to all fours. Table pose. Make sure that your knees are under your hips, your hands under your shoulders. And now find your left leg and extend it back behind you. Point your toes down. And when you're ready, your right arm out in front. Look straight down, neck is long. Beautiful. Lift your belly. Your core will really help to stabilize. And notice if it's easier on this side or it was easier on the other side. We always have that sidedness, right? It's just a matter of curiosity. It's like, it's interesting. It's easier on this side or it's not. One more big breath. Stretch long through your both of your limbs. And then hand, knee, foot to the floor. Now cross your ankles, roll back over your feet, and come to seated with your legs stretched out in front of you for Paschimottanasana, the seated forward fold. So you want to move the flesh away from your sitting bones. So you're sitting on the front edges of them. Good. Point your toes straight up to the ceiling. And then take your arms out to the side, up overhead, and interlace your fingers, all except for your indexes. Pull yourself really long and straight here. And then just lean back until your abdominal wall begins to quiver. And then come back to center again so that you're in an L shape. And with your hands still interlaced, begin to hinge out over your legs. Gradually unlace your fingers and let your hands fall someplace on your legs. They could be on your knees or your shins, or you can reach for your feet. So this is a forward fold. So there's two places in your body that are stretching right now. Your back and your hamstrings. So you want to kind of find a détente between these kind of places in your body. So some people are really stretchy in their hamstrings. So for them, it's all about their back. For some people, it's their legs that are really, really tight. If your legs are really tight in Paschimottanasana, micro bend your knees and slide a blanket or a bolster underneath them. It'll take a lot of the stress out of the hamstrings and allow you to concentrate on the stretch in your back. If you want a little bit more hamstring stretch in Paschimottanasana, squeeze your thighs, squeeze your quadriceps and press your thighs straight down into the mat. Pull your toes back toward your nose, flex your feet. Engaging the quadriceps will help release the hamstrings. It's agonist-antagonist muscles here. If you want to get into your upper back, your traps, try micro-bending your elbows in Paschimottanasana and opening into the upper back, into that big slab of muscle at the base of your neck. Some people try valiantly to get their head to touch their legs or their knees in Paschimottanasana, and that's a mistake. As soon as you begin to strive in a stretch, you're no longer doing yoga. You're doing something else. You want to let the body drive. You want to find a satisfying stretch, but you don't want to overdo it. Notice if you're clenching your jaw or if your face is squinched up in any way, and see if you can drop in to the sensations in your body. Focus on your back for a few breaths. And then focus on your legs for a few breaths. Forward folds are deeply introspective. It's almost like you're spelunking, you're cave diving into the deep recesses of your body. Eyes closed, breath smooth. And just like when you're exploring a cave, You're on high alert. Okay, let's exit the pose gently by walking the hands back up the legs. And once you get out of the pose and there's no more sensations, take a few deep breaths. And then now we're going to come into a softer version of this. So bring the soles of the feet to touch and angle your knees out a little bit. So you're making a diamond shape with your legs. And then take your hands and slide them underneath your calves and cup the tops of your feet. Now you're going to have to customize this for your body. And then simply drop your head down. So now we're taking all the work out of the legs and just bringing the work into the spine, into the back. No striving. Imagine that your spine is like a turtle shell. And you're retracting your attention deep inside. Make sure your face is soft and your jaw is relaxed. You can even open your lips a little bit. Don't mouth breathe, however. To keep from mouth breathing when your mouth is open, just flatten your tongue on the roof of your mouth. That'll remind you to keep breathing through the nose and not through the mouth. Mouth breathing instigates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your flight or fight. We don't want to do that in yoga. Can you feel the weight of your head and just let it drop? Finding a little bit more space in your cervical spine here. Can you tuck your chin in just ever so slightly and take the stretch down the neck into the upper back a little bit? Can you swivel your chin over toward your right armpit just ever so slightly and get into the side of the neck? And then do it on the other side, swivel to the other side. There can be a lot of crinking and cracking and cricking in your neck. If you hold tension in your upper back and shoulders, this is a great way to release some of that tension. Okay, slowly begin to withdraw the arms out from beneath the legs and press yourself back up. Flatten your feet on the floor. Take your hands behind you and lean back onto your hands. Take your feet wide to your mat. Lean back, pull your chest out, and drop your knees over to the right. And then lift both knees up and take them over to the left. And keep going in your own rhythm, your own timing. Release your back, one side, and then the other side. And then the next time your knees are pointing straight up, grab your strap and roll onto your back. And we're going to set up for a supported bridge. Then you're going to bend your knees and lift your hips up and slide that block under at the first level. Even though you always use the second level, we're going to do it gradually and find a nice support for your back. And then walk your feet in closer to your hips. That's it. Hands alongside the body, palms facing down, and simply enjoy the lift in the chest that happens when you have your hips lifted up. Your heart seems to open up a little bit. Feel the breath in the belly. And then press down into your feet and see if you can turn that block one more turn. So now you're up a lot higher. Bring your feet in a little tiny bit closer. Yeah, and now it's like, oh, now I really feel it across the collarbones, kind of scrunch your shoulder blades underneath you a little bit. And then if you want to try going end on end, I never do that myself, but some people really like to go end on end. And if that's you, for a big high back bend, there you go. Breathe so that you can feel your belly rise. And now we're going to gradually come back down. So if you're at level 3 on your block, come to level 2 and take a breath. And if you're on level 2, come down to level 1. Now from level 1, we're going to bring bridge into its more muscular effort. So pressing down onto your feet, lift your hips up so it clears your block and take your block out of the way. Yeah. So walk your triceps underneath you and see if you can clasp your hands, or alternately you can grab for your ankles. So you're riding high up onto the triceps. That's it. Press your knees forward. Straighten your elbows, bringing their knuckles closer to your heels. That's it. Drop your chin slightly in toward your throat. Squeeze up one little bit higher. Come to the apex of your bridge. And then slowly unlace your fingers and begin to descend, but descend incredibly slowly, one vertebra at a time. When your sacrum hits the floor, do whatever your body wants. So for me, it's usually a knees into the chest squeeze. But for other people, it could be like Kathryn. She likes to drop her knees from side to side. Or you could try both of those things. It's amazing. Your body always knows what the counter stretch is for a posture. Feel the echo of bridge pose. All right. So wherever you are in this, hug your right knee into your chest and extend your left leg long on the ground. We're getting ready for a knee down twist. So extend your right arm out like a wing. And simply invite that right knee all the way over to the left side of your space. You can jog your hips a little bit to the right so you can get a nice stack there. Try as much as possible to keep your right shoulder connected to the mat. So that's why we have the arm out to the side, because it kind of cues the shoulder down. Don't worry about how close your knee is to the floor. And if it's okay for your neck, you can also gaze out over your right shoulder. An advanced variation of this twist is to bend your left knee and grab your left ankle with your right hand. Kind of pretzel yourself into it. So for some people, this is like, oh, this is great. For other people, this is a lot of no. This is no. But you can get two for the price of one here. You can get a spinal twist, and you can also get a quad stretch. So I'm just offering that as a possibility. Every time you exhale, see if you can squeeze empty and go in a little bit deeper. Crack. Yes, yes. And now wherever you are in this, if you have your foot grabbed, release it and gently return your knee back to center. Find some symmetry on your mat. Hug and squeeze both knees into the chest. Maybe rock a little bit on your spine as we set up for that same twist on the other side. So hang on to your left knee, extend your right leg long, extend your left arm out, palm facing down, and begin to guide that knee all the way over to the other side. Good. If it's okay for your neck, you can look over your left shoulder. And you get in there and see if you can find some good juju in your low back. If you engage your abdominal wall by squeezing empty on your exhales, you actually protect your low back. Talking about agonist-antagonist muscles, the abdominal wall and the low back are agonist-antagonist. So they're connected. That's why people who have weak backs most assuredly always have weak abdominal wall. You strengthen your abdominal wall and you support your low back. If the variation suits you, you can bend that bottom leg and grab for your foot. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. And now one more deep breath here. See if you can squeeze that last exhale. And your last chance to go inside and see what you can find. And then begin to release out of the pose. Release your foot and come all the way out. And hug and squeeze your knees into your chest and massage your low back. And then draw your head to your knees and squeeze yourself into a little ball. And then release and prepare for Shavasana. So you have a blanket behind you if you want. Get your stuff, blanket, cushion. Would you like anything else? Would you like those 2 blocks for under your legs? Yeah. Eye bags are nice. Here you go. These are higher. Yeah. Cool. So here's a little poem from Lunig to guide you into relaxation. He says, "Let us pray for wisdom. Let us pause from thinking and empty our mind. Let us stop the noise. In the silence, let us listen to our heart, the heart which is buried alive. Let us be still and wait and listen carefully. A sound from the deep, from below, a faint cry, a weak tapping, distant muffled feelings from within, the cry for help. We shall rescue the entombed heart. We shall bring it to the surface, to the light and the air. We shall nurse it and listen respectfully to its story. The heart story of pain and suffocation, of darkness and yearning. We shall help our feelings to live in the sun. Together again, we shall find relief and joy." All right. By all means, stay in Shavasana if you can. We're going to end here. So begin to soften your knees, allow them to bend. Move your fingers, your toes. Stretch and squirm if you like. And then slowly begin to transition to your side. And pause there for a moment. With your eyes open, notice your surroundings. The light, the sounds. But most of all, notice you. Notice how you feel. What's going on or not going on. Take a moment to bless yourself. Acknowledge that you've taken an hour of your day to do this. That you found it important. And then slowly begin to climb your way back up to a seated position. Take your time, move with care. Find a way of sitting that feels comfortable, or where you can have a long spine. And close your eyes. And take some deep, deep breaths, coming back into the world kind of breaths. Now take a deep, deep inhale into the bottoms of the lungs and hold the breath down and hold it inside. With the breath held in, feel your heartbeat. Feel yourself pulse. And then open your mouth and exhale. Bring the palms of the hands together. Touch the forehead. Touch the lips. And touch your heart. And allow your head to bow. Honor your light and your wisdom and your best self. And then slowly lift the gaze. Namaste. Namaste, Kathryn. Namaste. Namaste, Nancy and Angela and Sarah and Linda. And who else is here? And Fred at work. And Robin. Yeah. So I thank Kathryn